Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know that having the audacity to see an ideal and bring it into reality while breaking generational habits of hustle can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. Welcome to episode 86. 86 is the year I landed Earthside, and it was also the year that Courtney American Girl Doll was born. Same year, 1986. Coincidence? I think not. She even has a pet guinea pig, just like I did, and plays Pac-Man, my favorite old school video game. Today, we are talking about how proving yourself is robbing you of your power and the subtle ways it shows up for high-achieving badasses like yourself. How to uncover it, and how you can switch over from proving to power. The way we are defining proving is when you're wanting to prove something about yourself that isn't overt. Like, we're not talking about Inspector Gadget status collecting proof. Proving is when you are subconsciously motivated and you are actioning your way out of a foul thought. And by actioning, doing things, your responses and your reactions, those moves that you're making in your life, they're because of something that you don't want to believe. Proving is not ostentatious. And I'm going to start with an example from my own life that happened just this week. Someone in my family asked me to dog sit for them for an extended amount of time. Now, I love this dog and I love these people, but I also love being a CEO. And I asked myself some key questions that I'll share some of them with you later in this episode. And I realized I was trying to prove that I wasn't selfish and that, oh, you can depend on me. And part of me didn't want to believe or didn't believe that I add value just by being me. Now, this little snapshot is this exquisite awareness and skill of being able to unearth the belief for what it is and not judge it or justify it or downplay it or spin out about it, just to see it and be curious about it. I'm going to give you some more examples of that and actually walk you through the process. I did with one of my private clients, but those two things, the exquisite awareness of yourself and the skill of being able to pull up these deep beliefs that have been unconsciously driving us for our life. Those two things will change your fucking life. Just those two skills. Another tool that you get when you work with me and that I used for this example of myself, I'm my own ruler. So your ruler, your measuring tape, is the only one you use to measure your worth. It is a ruler that you're walking around with. It is your divine ruler. It is the only one, or your tape measure, however you want to ruler, tape measure. I like tape measures because they're longer and you can measure more things. That tape measure that you're walking around with, that is how you measure your worth, your value. And from that measurement, that is how you create your own value system. It's just like Mary Poppins. Remember when she put hers out and it came to her height and it said practically perfect in every single way. That is what you get to have. So what I did is I got out my measuring tape and I was like, oh, wait, this is my value system. My value system, I don't live by these patriarchal confining rules anymore. And I let my family member that asked me know that I didn't have the capacity. And I didn't lie. I'm bringing this as a celebration with my own coaches. I didn't have any people pleasing as part of it. And it was a huge aha for me that I realized I didn't need to have a reason to say no. I could just say no and that it was okay. Meaning I was okay with me. I was prepared for this family member to be upset with me, to ask me if I was really sure about that, prepared for them to ice me. I was prepared for them to tell other people in the family. And guess what? This family member, they were like all good with it. They were like, oh my God, totally understand. We're just asking around. It was not a big deal at all. But I wouldn't have known that if I would have let those old beliefs and that proving energy and that proving drive my unconscious motivational pattern. Another way that proving shows up and is stealing your power is when you lie to yourself. You are saying like, oh, no. I'm going for this promotion. I'm publishing this book because I've got to prove it to myself. How we know that there's a foul belief underneath there is when I ask you, what is it that promotion is going to mean for you? What is it that you don't believe that you think achieving this thing is going to do for you? If you won't even go there with the question, if you're saying, no, I just got to prove this to myself, like go back, do not pass go back and be like, no. Like, what is it? Another signpost for you that you are improving energy and not in your powerful prolificness is when you're asking yourself, how long do I have to keep doing this? Because then what you're doing is you are putting time frame and parameters around it. And it's a signpost that like you don't really believe in something and you're trying to prove yourself and you're not letting yourself see it. We always want to start with honesty with yourself and the beliefs that you uncover. Don't judge like what it looks like. For me and my beliefs, like the belief of I don't believe that me just being me is valuable to my family. Know that those beliefs are not the truth of the universe. And when you're trying to wallpaper over and bulldoze your way over these beliefs that you really, really don't want to look at, especially with imposter syndrome, if you're just like, I'm just going to make myself valuable, I just want you to hear the difference here versus if you're like, I believe I'm valuable. I believe what I do is important. I believe that I matter. Can you sense the energetic shift there? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to force myself versus if you just believe it, if it's just innate, it would be like me being on this podcast and being like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm a podcaster. It's like, no. You have a podcast and you're listening to it. Me putting any energy into that just makes me less powerful. And you would probably turn off the podcast if that were to happen. The moment that we become attached to receiving this thing and what it means about us, that's when you begin to give your sovereignty and your freedom away. It doesn't always show up as I'm trying to prove something. Some other signposts for you is when you're asking yourself, how do I do it? What will make me valuable? How can I prove that I'm the best for this person? How can I make them see how great I am? How can I prove I'm committed? How can I show I'm not an imposter? When you are proving, you are pouring your power into a futile place and you are subconsciously focusing on your shadows, you're focusing on your lack, and you're focusing on scarcity. You are operating off of a faulty belief that you need to prove yourself. Let's just ask yourself right now, do you want to spend your time, energy, brain juice on proving? If you're straight up honest, none of us do. Wouldn't it be so much easier if everywhere you went, they would just like knew that like, oh, this you right here, oh, she's a good, this one right here. Yeah, her, oh, we're so lucky to have her. Wouldn't that be amazing? If all outcomes were equal and you didn't need to influence anyone, everything you think why you need to behave or act a certain way or really show them how wonderful you are. If all of those things were for sure happening, would you want to spend your precious life force energy proving yourself? Answer that and let me know. Tell me on Instagram. What we really want to look at, what we're getting into here, is what's underneath the proving. This may show up in the form of people pleasing, doing things so that other people will see that you are a good person, and then that will prove that your belief is true. But what it's actually doing is it's proving a faulty, foul, nasty belief true, like me with my family member. If I would have said yes, I would have been confirming the belief, I have to do good in order to be valued. I have to deserve it through doing, not being myself. That it's not enough that I was just born. And I also have to have someone else see my goodness in order for me to believe it. I need the external validation in order for me to believe it. I need something in this 3D world we live in to reflect it back to me. Like all of those thoughts, that's what was hidden underneath it if I would have said yes to dog sitting for an extended period of time. These proving things, that it's a huge reason why I retired from practicing public relations, because there are so many beloved celebrities that they literally don't do anything of value privately if no one can see it. And this is something that has also spilled over into our social media culture, where everyone needs to be doing things in front of people in order to get attention and get the reaction that they feel the activity is going to bring them. A client of mine actually noticed that she would wait to put money in the tip jar until the barista could see it, because she needed to prove that she was a generous person and she needed them to see it to acknowledge it. The piece de resistance. I was coaching a private client on her ability to thrive. I noticed that she was getting tripped up by her boss when they asked her a question. And she was reacting like as if she was being questioned. And she saw it as a threat. And on autopilot, her brain would just start to go into, I'll show you how smart I am. Now, it wasn't like, hey, they asked a question, like, here, let me answer it type energy. It was like, how dare you challenge my authority? And her internal system saw it as a threat. And because of that, she was showing up at work in this hyper approving mode. When she was in a meeting, she had to make sure that she was the smartest one. And if she felt she wasn't the most intelligent one in that meeting, she wouldn't say anything. If a colleague asked her a question after she gave a presentation or gave her a correction on something that she did, she pulled an all-nighter fixing it and going over it 23 times so that it never happened again. This is a pattern I immediately recognized because I used to do this too. My client was trying to make an impression on all of these people that she worked with instead of being the true expression of herself. And these beliefs that she had were creating her urgency to prove, even though she is already a leader. Like she is in the C-suite, which means like a CEO, CMO, CFO, COO type role. She is upper management, and all of her energy was being funneled subconsciously, unconsciously into, I need to prove. And she was looking over her shoulder and she was, writing the email and reading it 15 times. And she had this hypervigilance, not from a positively proactive place, but always trying to think ahead and anticipate problems. And there was so much of her energy that was coming from lack and fear and protection, instead of pouring her power over to flourishing and being vibrant and enjoying herself and spending time being present with her friends and family. Your subconscious thoughts, your hidden beliefs, digging into that puts you in a completely different direction. You can coach on the surface level shit. You can do that. But the way that I like to look at it is like you could have a car or you could have a rocket ship. But if you want rocket fuel that propels you and really just changes the direction that you are going so that your orbit is smoother and you are launched in the constellation of who you are, then you want to come do this work. We are going into new territory because that is what coaching with me does. We go deep. And we are able to get into this new, amazing territory in your life. Like with this client of mine, she is at the top of her game. She is one of the best in the world at what she does. But she had this belief, I'm lucky to be here. Not that, hey, they should be fucking on their knees saying, praise be that she's here, which is my thought as her coach. She wasn't thinking that she created her career. She wasn't thinking about what a value she is or what a resource she brings by her mere presence. If you had asked her, like every other strong, smart female that's regularly quoted in Fast Company, she would say, oh no, like I'm good. I know my worth. And no one else would even question it. They'd be like, she's the baddest bitch on the block. But underneath all of that was this small little thought little belief, little unconscious motivational pattern that was totally creating, overworking, proving, and questioning everything. Every time she went into a meeting, she was thinking, I have something to prove because I'm lucky to be here. And I literally looked at her and I was just like, they are lucky to have you. And then then I played a little bit of Britney Spears Lucky and we laughed. And then we went to work on dissolving that belief. I worked it from every angle, 360 right here. I showed her how the board of directors who hired her, what they had said about her. And I asked her, like, does this change your opinion? And it didn't. It didn't. All these awards that she had won over the course of 2021, she still had the thought like, oh, yeah, but I'm lucky to be here. And it wasn't something overt. It was like way deep down because she had just said this off the cuff. She didn't come here. This is how it works. Like when I'm your coach, I'm that amazing. She didn't come to the session and was like, hey, CLG, I found this thought and I think that's it. She was just telling me about her workday, and that is what had come out. I worked it from every angle, and I even showed her, like when she was negotiating her raise at her annual review, she asked for $50,000 more. And that was in a different pay bracket. But guess what? They gave it to her. But she still had the underlying motivation, I'm lucky to be here, which translates to, I don't fully believe that I belong here. Unless you work on those internalized beliefs, you are always going to have less power and you are going to be proving yourself in ways you don't even know and that you definitely don't want to, because I know that you would rather put that energy in a billion other places. This is why it is so important to slow down and to understand what it is you're thinking and believing and what is driving you, and to get playfully curious, reflection point questions. If the truth is you are worthy and valuable because of who you be, not what you do, then what is it that's triggering you to prove yourself? What could it possibly be? Also ask yourself, what is it that you don't want to be called out on? It's a backdoor way that you can go about this. If you are having some of the same thoughts as her, I just have a special message I want to give you. And that is that you are not lucky. Your success is not by chance. There are no flukes. It was not someone doing you a favor or a solid or a family friend or something random or someone being nice. Like, even if someone connected you or opened a door or you're working at a family business, like that is only happening because you were prepared to walk through the door and to continue going. When we work together as a private client, we really unwind these beliefs and I develop a protocol for you. Like with this client, she's noticing that she's not proving herself. She's not getting pissed at her colleagues that are asking her questions about her marketing plan. She is believing, hey, I created my career. I deserve to be here. If you're nodding your head yes, listen closely because I might have the solution you've been searching for. My Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, a 6-week, highly individualized one-on-one coaching experience designed exclusively for perfectionists like you. Your perfectionism is actually your greatest asset, and leveraging it can be hard work or take years of guesswork. That's why in Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, I give you my key frameworks to taking charge of your Ferrari drive, proven to work even for the most type A, high-strung, stubborn perfectionists. In the first 30 days, you will cut your burnout in half, increase your professional fulfillment by at least 150%, and your self-compassion will go up at least 250%. And that is just your first 30 days. So if you want to save yourself years of trial and error, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/accelerator today. Or if you want to take the easy way, just click the link in the show notes to check out the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator.